I'm back for one final segment with Richard Gage, the founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. You don't believe the story that's been told that it was the terrorists that flew in, and that's how these things dropped. Okay, let me just stop for a second. If it is, as you say, that the U.S. military was involved in setting these thousands of charges and destroying the building, for what reason? There's got to be a motive. Behind every crime, there's a motive. What's the motive?
Well, I first want to suggest that the Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, over 300 of us, are demanding a real investigation, and we're not conspiracy theorists. We bring forth the forensic science-based evidence, which can be seen on our website, ae911truth.org.
What's the reason, though? Like, what's the motive?
A real investigation will pointed at those who benefited.
So who would benefit from killing 3,000 of their own people?
Well, every major war in this country has been started by a false flag operation. Most of these have been declassified now. For instance, Vietnam War. There was no Gulf of Tonkin incident as described to us.
But that's over. I mean, if you're going to stage something, why wouldn't they stage a possible hijacking of a plane and have fake people that were tortured or something, U.S. citizens, and we got to go invade Iraq or something, rather than let's kill 3,000 of our own people?
Well, why did we invade Iraq? Was it because of weapons of mass destruction? No. Was it because of ties to Al-Qaeda? No. Everybody knows why the United States invaded Iraq. Now, people need to ask themselves the question, why are we in Afghanistan? Well, this isn't my primary area of research, but it's quite interesting to note that the Taliban was not negotiating with the United States relative to the oil and natural gas pipelines being brought down from the Turkmenistan, I believe it was, which was a pipeline plan to go to Pakistan. They were negotiating with a company in Brazil. And there was some threats, and those are very well documented by the U.S. government on the Taliban. The Newsweek reported that the invasion of Afghanistan was signed by President Bush the day before 9/11, September 10th.
So again, the motive, I'm just trying to be clear because I'm just thinking as a normal crime, I go, oh, the person was angry or the person had a vendetta. You're saying the U.S. government and possibly military was involved in this because they're the only ones who have access to this kind of material, because they wanted to galvanize the people against the Middle East so they can get oil. Was that kind of what you're saying?
And I'm not saying that, but that's what a lot of people are saying.
That's a possibility. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, sure, it's a possibility. It's quite a possibility.
It seems like quite a stretch to do just to get some oil.
I think if people who do the research realize that this is a lot more about oil. The Project for a New American Century was a think tank composed of those neocons that are currently in power. What did their website say? They want to gain regional hegemony in the Middle East, increase the military budget by vast amounts, et cetera, et cetera.
But they can do all that.
Absent a catalyzing and catastrophic event like a new Pearl Harbor, these goals are not going to be reached very quickly. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
But that is a heck of a statement and needs to be
looked at. You're right. I mean, disasters often produce a sense of a huge response. And you're saying maybe this disaster was used as a way to justify their response in both in Iraq and Afghanistan. However, I'm doubting this. I'm doubting the fact that something of this magnitude could be pulled off without one janitor, some guy who's being paid $8 an hour who says, hey, I can make $10 million on a story if I broke and said, I was the guy with the keys, let all the guys in to put the charges up.
Well, how long
it takes one guy to say that.
How long would your life last if you did say that, frankly? And what does the environment...
change my look, I'll grow a beard.
What is the environment in which, is there any receptivity in the mainstream media right now, which 90% of it in the United States is owned by 4 corporations? Who sits on those corporations, the boards of those corporations? The same people who sit on the boards of the defense industry, oil industry, banking industry, insurance industry. All those industries profited enormously from 9/11. And a real investigation will inevitably end up there. But can you doubt the physical, science-based forensic evidence that this is thermate, these cutter charges, that the laws of physics were violated on 9/11 with the collapse of all 3 of these towers against thousands of tons of structural steel at free fall speed? That there's evidence, chemical evidence in the molten metal, the World Trade Center dust and the ends of the slags of the beams, which are seen dripping with molten metal, which the official story can't even account for, that there's explosions occurring in the Twin Towers 20, 40, 60 stories below the collapse that have no possible explanation. These are pulverized building materials occurring at 160 to 200 feet per second. These are not puffs of air being produced by some air pressure where this building above is driving the rest of the building down.
That debris you're saying is an explosion. It's not just...
Oh, it's very clear in all the videos. You can see it.
It's so clear.
You know
how come like someone doesn't, some senator doesn't go, so clear to me too, we're doing an investigation. All the senators, everyone's in on this.
Yeah, well, there are a number of high-ranking government officials calling for a new investigation. For one reason, because we have 110 floors, each an acre in size. Guess how many are found at the bottom of the Twin Towers?
I don't know.
None. Not 50, not 20, not one floor. There's a
all
pile of, that's right, they've been completely pulverized, the concrete, 90,000 tons of it, to a fine dust, smaller than a human hair. There's only a pile of structural steel and aluminum cladding at the bottom of these towers.
Mr. Gage, we're right out of time. This is really fascinating. Clearly, there's so many questions that are unanswered on this issue of the 9/11. The issue to me, though, it's either you are right and possibly thousands of people who are in on this are wrong and they're hiding it and hope they come out and our jails will be packed with people who are in part of this conspiracy or this issue. You have been really fascinating. Thanks for coming on our show tonight.
Thank you very much.
You betcha.
It's great to be here.
Mr. Gage will be appearing this weekend in both Vancouver and Victoria. On Saturday, he'll be delivering a lecture at the Vancouver Public Library downtown at 7 p.m. On Sunday, he'll be in Victoria at St. John the Divine Church at Quadra Street at 2 p.m. speaking there. Both cases, you can purchase tickets at the door. You can find out more details about the events online at the website displayed at the bottom of your screen. I'll be right back.